Last year, almost exactly a year ago exactly, my husband and I learned that I was pregnant with our second child. We rejoiced and thanked God as we shared the news with our family and our friends. While there was lots of excitement, pregnancy is also kind of terrifying. There is a lot that can go wrong, a lot of changes, and it is completely out of your control. Just a few weeks in, I woke up to all the symptoms of a miscarriage. I accepted defeat immediately. About 20% at least of pregnancies end in miscarriage, so I thought, this is what's happening. So without hesitation, I called my husband in, and I told him we were losing the baby. Off to the ER we went. It felt like a ton of bricks in my stomach, and the weight of the world on my shoulders. Then the anxiety and doubt hit. Was this something I did? Did I drink too much caffeine? Did I lift something too heavy? Did I do something to cause this? What can I do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Then, much to my surprise, in the doctor's office, a strong heartbeat rang through on the monitor. She was fine. The doctor told me there was a very small hematoma that can cause some of the same symptoms as a miscarriage. Lots of women get them, they're very common, and they usually resolve on their own. Nothing to worry about. A follow-up was scheduled just to be sure for the following week. What a relief. The follow-up was also a surprise, although not a joyous one. In just a week and a half, the hematoma had grown exponentially. The doctor informed us it was now much, much larger than the baby, almost 3 times the size of the baby, meaning there was no way she would survive. The doctor said it was actually one of the largest ones he had ever seen, and ones larger than the baby are extremely rare. There was no cure, nothing to do to make the situation better or worse. All we could do was wait for the miscarriage to happen. The bricks were back, and so were my racing thoughts. What do you mean, wait? I asked the doctor again. Nothing? There's nothing that caused this? Nothing I can do to increase our chances at all? No, nothing. Just wait. So we went home to wait. The coming months were torture. Every day I felt the weight of an impending doom. Any twinge I felt, I expected the inevitable to be happening. I found it impossible to focus at work, to be social with friends. Even tasks like doing the dishes or folding laundry seemed impossible. Half grieving, half hoping, always waiting. Every day, my husband would remind me, it's in God's hands. Whatever happens is in His control, not ours. As he would say this, I would think to myself, I know, that's the problem. What help is that? If I was in control instead of God, I wouldn't let this happen, or at least not make us sit in this discomfort and waiting for so long. It didn't make sense. As the waiting continued, I pressed into this and began to lean on God, asking Him somehow to help me understand what was happening. Over and over, through the words from friends, family, through songs, things I read, God was telling me to let go. What was making me really uncomfortable is that there was truly nothing I could do to change it. I don't like feeling out of control. I'm sure many of you don't either. And I definitely don't like being out of control when I disagree with the result. I did not want to let go. Then I was at home alone one day. My husband and daughter were out, and I was laying on the couch feeling sorry for myself. Then I had finally had enough. I had to get up. So I went up to the kitchen to do dishes. I turned on worship music on our speaker as loud as I could. This months-long process of God softening my heart to His plan finally started to break through a little bit. As I was listening to the music and praying fervently, I began to let go just a little. I told God if we lost the baby or my own health was affected, it was okay. All of a sudden, I began to feel a little silly for holding on so tight. I am not God. God is God. I can be sad and grieve when the time comes, but doing so now is not trusting God and is stealing my joy from today. I can't fully put into words what happened next, but right then, I felt God push me to ask. Bible verses of God telling His people to ask Him began rushing through my mind. Then it hit me. Up until this point, I had yet to truly ask God to heal the situation and truly believe it, while also praying that His will be done, even if the result was not what I wanted. I began praying. From then, every morning, noon, and night, asking God to heal and continually speaking that His will be done, regardless of the outcome. Walking into my anatomy scan weeks later, I was terrified, but kept praying and speaking truth. It was a miracle our baby had even made it this far. I can be thankful for that. no matter what the scans show or what comes next. Much to my surprise, the scans showed a perfectly healthy baby girl. More so, the hematoma was completely gone, without any scarring or trace on me or the baby at all. Even the technician said that if it wasn't for my charts, she wouldn't have been able to tell it was even there. There was no explanation. A little less than a year ago, I would have thought it was impossible to say, but she is here with us today, actually in the back row, Opal Joy. Opal is a stone that represents faithfulness and confidence. This, paired with the middle name Joy, we felt was the perfect homage to the miracle God has worked in our lives. God is good, and he is faithful. We can be confident in him. He is the source of our joy, not our circumstances. Now, I am fully aware that not all stories end this way. Many of my dearest and closest friends, and probably some in this room, have suffered miscarriages, infertility, and stillbirth. I can't explain why those things happen or how that fits into God's plan, but I can say, without a doubt, that we serve a powerful God who is good. And even before knowing the end result of my situation, when I was letting fear win and trying to control what I could not, I was miserable and hopeless. But when I pressed into God's promises and truly trusted him, without knowing the outcome, was where I began to feel joy amongst the unknown.